Typhoon recovery updates are brought to you by Burger King, reminding island residents to keep informed and stay safe. IT&E, connections that matter. KFC, it's finger licking good. And SPPC 76 Circle K, take it easy.
Half a day, I'm Mitsuki Hirayama. You're watching KUAM News Weekend Edition. Thanks for joining us. As the Joint Information Center has transitioned to recovery releases, our Jason Solis keeps you informed with the latest.
Hafene Guam, Jason Salas here with Damon Michael Borja from the Guam Department of Education. We are here at Juan M. Guerrero on Harmon Loop Road, one of the almost 40, Damon, public campuses that you have just got out of a meeting with GDOE leadership, and no school on Monday.
Correct. So there is going to be no school at all on Monday.
Okay. Is that for any particular reason? I mean, the campuses are basically like intact right now, no severe damages or anything like that. Is that because the evaluations continue?
Yeah. So no. Actually, what happened is we had a meeting earlier that we talked about, and so a lot of the principals were sharing their concerns about what has happened and all their assessments that they're made. Of course, no power in some of the schools, no water in some of the schools, or even if they do have power and water, there's like fluctuations or even like low water pressure where you can't even flush a toilet.
Exactly. We want to make sure that the kids, the faculty, the administrators are able to, have a regular school day. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So like right now,
better to do it right than do it fast.
Yeah, basically. So we want to make sure that when we do come back into school, that all the safety requirements are met, all the schools are ready to go. Even like, for example, some of the things like the cafeterias aren't ready. They need to prep and check the water to make sure it's safe to consume. We have to make sure that the flooring, the roofing is all intact so that even the chefs and the cooks from Sodexo can do their job.
Absolutely. And so we don't want anybody to slip. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We don't want anybody to have a less than perfect environment so they can get learning done the right way.
Correct. Yeah.
And this is all three levels, right? Elementary, middle school, and high school.
Correct. All three levels, no school at all.
Okay. So kids, I know what you've been asking. I've seen the DMs. I've seen your comments on all of those. Keep adding them right here and everything, but no school on Monday. Do you anticipate having school on Tuesday, barring, like further evaluations?
Well, so we did just put out a presser earlier, and then in the presser, all faculty is going to be engaged in preparations and assessments of the classrooms and the insides of it. And what they're going to do is they're going to determine if they can still open Tuesday. But right now, there is no plans for that.
I am here in Fadian on Back Road to Anderson right now with John Beneventi. He is the general manager of the Guam Power Authority. His crews, the lines crews, everybody out there working really, really hard to get power service restored. As of Sunday morning, JB, 73% of the island is restored. And first of all, thank you and Sijus Masi to all of your hardworking staff here, like everybody, the communications team, the lines workers, especially the administration and everything. Everybody immediately leapt to get our island back online.
First of all, I'd like to spread a big thank you to the crews and also their families, because these teams have been working now ever since maybe a week before the storm, 12 hours a day, and then of course recently with the recovery effort, they're working 12 to 16 hours a day.
Now for that remaining 17%, what can you say to the ratepayers right now? Or, the ones who are saying, when is my neighborhood going to come on, or my street, or 3 blocks down, their lights are on. What about me?
So right now, we of course we have 63 feeders throughout the island. We have 54 restored also last night. So we have 9 more that we're really packing to get restored today.
How do you determine what parts of Guam get restored and get energized the fastest? Is it the most densely populated, or the least damaged, or the easiest to access?
We kind of let me go through the process first. Sure. The first process is the first day was actually we didn't recover that much customers. The first day was to go on and repair the transmission line and the substation. So the power plant through the transmission lines bring the power to the substation, which distributes the power. So it's like the main breaker of your house. If that substation is not lit in the middle of Talapopo, nothing will happen. You can go fix whatever you want, right? So our whole goal was to loop, get all the entire island substation energized. That way we can go everywhere and immediately start restoration. It didn't matter what village or so. And so that's what we did. In the first day we got 28 out of 29. Today all substations are restored. Then after that, we concentrate our crews and feeders and we spread them around the island. Yes, there's some critical areas, the water wells, the hospitals, and even commercial areas like the mooning and industrial. we try to go around and get some power in each of the different substations. So at least there's some potential for neighbors and everyone to help itself by having energy at least in their place.
Like early on and everything like that, you want to kind of be judicious and you want to look out for your neighbors, because too many people running it too early, that makes it tougher to get the entire island on the macro level.
That's correct. So again, we're going back and we've been restoring the feeders, no? So that we have 63 feeders throughout the island. As of this morning, we restored 54. So the last 9 feeders, in Industrial Park, in towards Inorahan, Umadak, there's one in Talapopo, there's some here in Pagat, and again in Jigo also. So those are the last feeders that we're heading into and restoring. The way it's restored is if we go in the feeder and there's significant damage in the lateral, we will have to lift that lateral and come back later. Otherwise, if we try to repair that, it just delays the recovery for the customers that don't have that much damage on the street. So our process is after we complete restoring all the feeders, then we get in now and we back up and we start repairing the isolated feeders. And those will happen tomorrow. So those that see us come and go, don't worry, we're coming back. And that's going to happen tomorrow.
That's the word from the man.
In Island Health News, the Guam Memorial Hospital reports it remained fully operational through Super Typhoon Sinlaku, continuing to deliver care without interruption. The hospital says no major structural damage was sustained, with generator power keeping critical services stable throughout the storm. While minor leaks and localized flooding occurred, environmental services and facility maintenance teams responded quickly to address them. There were no injuries reported among staff or patients, and no storm-related fatalities. This according to the Guam Memorial Hospital Authority, and 135 inpatients received continuous care between April 13th and 16th as Condition of Readiness 1 remained in effect. An additional 19 expectant mothers were admitted during Core 1, and delivering some happy news, GMH shares that 10 babies were born during the storm response period. As the island transitioned to Core 4 on Thursday, GMH has now resumed normal operations, including elective outpatient and clinical services, visitation, and family viewing, effective Friday, April 17. Well, as Guam begins the road to recovery after Typhoon Sinlaku, some of the island's most familiar public spaces are now off limits. From parks to shorelines, the Department of Parks and Recreation has closed all public parks indefinitely as crews race to assess damage, clear debris, and make these spaces safe again. But the biggest concern remains what you can't always see: strong currents and hazardous water conditions still putting lives at risk in the storm's aftermath. Jonigan Charfus reports.
What may look like a return to normal is far from it. In the wake of Typhoon Sinlaku, some of Guam's most popular public spaces remain closed, as hidden dangers linger across the island. The Department of Parks and Recreation has shut down all public parks until further notice, as crews conduct mandatory damage assessments and begin cleanup operations. DPR Deputy Director Warren Pelletier.
After the governor and Lieutenant Governor put out the Core 4 notice, all of our staff came in and we had a meeting with all of them. We've learned from the Typhoon Marwar, Typhoon Marwar, and what we did then is we separated into 4 different groups, and then we had assigned all these groups to different areas, north, central, south, and some other historical parks and monuments. That's through SHPO. And that we assigned everybody, each group, to go out there and do initial preliminary assessments, starting from the most frequented and the parks that are most frequented by locals and visitors.
Pelletier says most of the staff have completed assessments.
They're going to compile that information, put it in a format that we used in the past typhoons.
Officials say the priority is safety, not just for the public, but also for first responders working through unstable conditions. And while the skies may be clearing, the ocean tells a different story. DPR is warning residents to stay out of the water as strong currents and post-storm conditions continue to pose a serious threat.
Joan, this is the thing that the people of Guam have to realize. A lot of them don't know how to swim. A lot of them think they know how to swim, and there's a lot of surfers that go out there and want to try to swim in these conditions. It is dangerous. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a dangerous situation. The winds are hazardous out there, and we cannot afford to put our first responders, our park police, or our lifeguards, VSOs in jeopardy. Even at Ipaw Beach, there's a huge surge of water coming in. When it comes in, it has to go somewhere. And it's either going to go left or right. And when you get caught in that tidal surge going left or right, you won't be able to touch the ground. Even if you do, it's just still going to sweep you off your feet.
Parks will reopen in phases, but only after they're deemed safe. Until then, maintenance crews will continue cleaning debris and repairing damage across multiple sites. At Tiguac Cemetery, cleanup efforts, while burial services will continue as scheduled. The grounds remain closed to the general public, with officials estimating about a week before it can safely open. The storm also left its mark on DPR facilities, including the main office and Paseo de Susana Stadium, both of which sustained significant damage. Officials are asking for patience as cleanup and assessments continue, reminding the community that staying away now will help ensure these spaces can safely reopen soon.
We just want to make sure that the general public is safe. Now, we're going to focus on Paseo, Ipaw, and Matapang first because those are the frequented parks.
The Department of Parks and Recreation say additional updates will be provided as conditions improve.
And staying with the Department of Parks and Recreation, DPR has temporarily closed the Dededo Pool following impacts from Typhoon Sinlaku. Officials say the facility will be drained and thoroughly cleaned to remove storm debris, dirt, and trash before undergoing a full safety inspection. Crews will check for any damage to the pool structure and decking, including cracks or surface issues. If damage is found, resurfacing may be required before the pool can reopen. The closure is expected to last at least 2 weeks, but could extend longer depending on the condition of the facility. DPR says updates will be provided as assessments continue. Well, post-secondary classes at the Guam Community College will resume Monday, April 20th as regularly scheduled. College officials say any changes will be announced through local media and the GCC website. Students with questions are encouraged to contact their instructors or academic advisors. GCC also urges students to continue monitoring their MyGCC accounts and official social media channels at Guam CC for the latest updates. Well, stick around. We have more coming up on Weekend Edition. You're watching KUAM.
Spring is here, and it's blooming with savings at Kmart Guam. Step into the season with fresh styles for the whole family. Tackle your spring to-do list with tools for every project. Get everything you need to be spring ready. Find it all this season at Kmart Guam.
I'm just glad that, in this morning, as we got it, there are people that have responded to these needs.
Has there been any stories that people can have come up to you saying, for example, hey, I've lost power, this is what I'm needing the most? Have you heard any stories from our community?
Not just yet. As you can see, right back there, we've got members of the VOAD, the volunteer organizations on Guam. They're going to meet to coordinate, see what the Guam needs are. We're also going to be able to address that. We're going to be able to help to address how these different volunteer organizations who have their own drives in their locations, one of the logistical challenges that many of them will have is getting them from Guam to, let's say, the CNMI. We have that operation. We've already set up, we've done this many times. We've worked with, Matson to bring the containers. Lujan's towing so that we can have the equipment needed to load the containers. Ambrose and Triple J to be able to get the pallets so that we can palletize. And then the volunteers to be able to receive it, then to palletize it, prioritize it, palletize it, put it on the container and get it ready to go.
Is this the only location
Right.
that is? It is the only location.
Yeah.
Now, if some of the community, maybe they're not able to donate, is there other ways that they can help towards this
Monetary
drive?
donation, okay. As a matter of fact, I want to thank the Uggan family. They provided, some funding that allowed us and enabled us to be able to purchase the 4 pallets of water that we're sending up to the CNMI today. And then we've got donations from individuals, make checks payable to the Azuda Foundation. I don't know if we got a PayPal account yet and everything. I'll find out from Carlotta the young girl, if we have that. But you know, any little bit helps. Even if you've only got, let's say, 30 minutes to be able to assist us, come on by.
Even for volunteering.
Even for volunteers.
That's a great help.
Yes, yes.
Is there any message that you would like to give to the community in regards to the drive or in regards to what we're going through right now? It's
Well, you know, I tell you, you know, our community has not only been resilient, but it's also been very giving. You know, one of the things that we find is as the word comes out as to how people can help, they come on up, you know, and provide what little they can. Every little bit counts because then it helps for us to build the pallets to send it out to these affected areas.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
On the Game is presented by Gatorade. On the field, on the court, in the game. But what happens beyond the game? Get stories behind the stats, the players behind the plays, and the teams making an impact on and off the field. Join us every weekend on KUAM News Weekend Edition for Beyond the Game, because sports are more than just a score. Only on KUAM, Guam's leader in sports coverage, Beyond the Game is presented by Gatorade. Half a day, everybody. I'm Jason Salas. Now, anytime I get to hang out with, our national teams in any sport, I always jump at the opportunity. And I have three of our very best, 2 players, 1 coach, who are over in Puerto Rico right now. They had a match against the host nation just the other day, and we are setting up for a match against American Samoa. We have Nainoa Norton in the middle, Coach Ross Awa, and then Kai Paul. So, boys, thank you for joining me, man. And, the time difference is kind of weird and everything like that, but I appreciate you guys giving me some of your time.
Yeah, really happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
Okay, interestingly enough, we'll start with Nainoa and Kai. You guys are traveling from, for playing in college and everything like that, meeting the guys out there. Not so much of a far trip for you guys, but, how do you guys maintain, maintain the chemistry, the communication, and make sure that you guys are all locked in and on the same page?
Yeah, we've all known each other for a very long time. So, once we get back into the groove, it's just like normal,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we also we come in a bit early for camp, so we get some time to get used to each other and figure each other's play styles, because we haven't played in a while, and that really helps us get ready for competition. Okay, and then Coach, you've actually given me the privilege of attending some of your practices and everything like that, which are really, really intense. How do you maintain that tempo and that readiness and really make sure that the boys are getting the most out of themselves and working as a coherent unit?
Well, for most of the players, actually, the ones that are overseas, not just in stateside, I do have some players in Japan, but also in Germany as well. I do check in with them to see how they're doing, and make sure that their programs are on top of things as well, to make sure that when we do get together, that everybody's on the same page. So as much as possible, I do check-ins with the players at least every month.
Mm. Okay, and for the players, I got to tell you guys, boys, man, you youngsters have no idea what it was like for me and Coach, way back when we actually had to make long distance calls. Yeah. You guys have no idea how lucky you guys have it with WhatsApp.
Oh, for real, yeah. Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, so let's recap the game versus the host nation, Puerto Rico, and everything. Real good outing by you guys. You guys actually held them 0-0 after one half and everything. So kind of break down. Maybe Coach, start with you. How satisfied were you with that performance, and what more needs to be done?
Well, the first half definitely showed that our team was able to put out a good fight against the host nation, Puerto Rico, who's actually 45 places ahead of us in the FIFA rankings. So for them to have that fight throughout the entire time, it was really good showing from the entirety as a team. Going into the second half, of course, there's a bit of things that we need to start working on a bit more. And then I think with that one, it really shows that, 45 places does make a big difference. But one thing that we need to be realistic about as well is the opposition and what level that their players are playing at. So I think this is something that we look at as a program as well, and an area for us to improve, but also support our players to how do we get them there to that level as well. So when these competitions do come up against other nations like Puerto Rico, we can compete at that level.
What do you see, Coach, as far as like the position players that we have, whether our wings or our forwards and everything like that? Like, what would you say are our strengths right now, and what do you put the most emphasis on?
I think for like when I know and Kai were mentioning is about having that cohesion, bring everybody together. And I think for us, it's, we think about our culture on Guam. We're very familial. So with that is how do we come together as a unit? It's not just based off of one position or two positions or a specific area within the team. It's us coming together as a unit to give out our best performance on this one.
And I know you always told me every time I interview you, there is something to say about like home field advantage and everything like that. But how much did that weigh into the fact that, like, when the host nation is playing and everybody is, is really high on Puerto Rico right now because, Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl and like everything like that. How was the tempo there, and like what was the energy in that stadium?
First of all, we're blessed to be able to play with an atmosphere like that. This is what we train hard every day for. Of course, there is a factor when we're in Puerto Rico's home turf. They'll have the fans behind them when they're doing good things or not. But as a player, really, it's just about focusing on what we can do on the field and trying to block out the noise.
And then Kai, how do you guys rely? You always go back to your training. You go back to the game that you guys have been playing since you were little kids and everything. How do you actually, like, all of you guys like lock in and say, we know what we have to do. Like, let's just go out there and play our game.
Yeah, I mean, we train, so we know the game plan. We know what we got to do to go out and perform. And doing the interfreshing before games is kind of us saying to each other, like, let's go out there and battle.
Okay, and how much does that mean when you guys are saying, like, our interfreshing and everything, and say, like, no matter where we are in the world when we play and everything like that, we know we're going to get the best out of ourselves and we're going to take ourselves to the next level?
It definitely means a lot. Yeah.
It's the Matao pride, like that's our, when we go back to the culture of Guam, like that's what our warriors would do before they go into battle. And that's exactly what we try to replicate on the pitch is, okay, we're all here together, no matter where we are in the world, because we haven't really been able to play in Guam on our home turf for the last couple of years. So, when we say that, we're coming together and we have one common goal.
Okay. Now, interesting game when you guys had the match against Puerto Rico. Like us, they're in American territory. They're like kind of like a little small island. The next match, you guys are one of our neighbors in the Pacific, and I know you guys are getting up for that game against American Samoa because you know they're looking forward to us too. So let's talk about that game and Coach, how you getting the boys ready?
I mean, going into this competition for this next match against American Samoa, definitely making some adjustments to where we need to improve on. But I think overall, we have a sense of a certain goal as a group, right? We're coming to this competition to come out with a positive result, and it's very important for us because it does affect our FIFA ranking. So from here, we look forward to putting a really great performance tomorrow and get the results for Guam.
Beyond the Game is presented by Gatorade. On the field, on the court, in the game. But what happens beyond the game? Get stories behind the stats, the players behind the plays, and the teams making an impact on and off the field. Join us every weekend on KUAM News Weekend Edition for Beyond the Game, because sports are more than just a score. Only on KUAM, Guam's leader in sports coverage, Beyond the Game is presented by Gatorade.
Freedom, that's a cheap thing. Freedom to ignore this, that's a cheap thing. Sacrificing facial hair to nature and involuntary blood donations, cheap things. No one signs up for an 800-pound bear chase, but if it happens, cheap thing. The VIP parking, exfoliating, treating gravity like a suggestion, saying, it'll dry, free-range parenting, forgetting if that's a moose or an elk, all Jeep things. Remembering without saying it, couldn't be more of a Jeep thing. Sweating your tail off, freezing your tail off, an American saving another American's tail. Jeep things. Making a Jeep vehicle for only people with cash like him? Not a Jeep thing. Or confusing capability with unaffordability? No, not a Jeep thing. Making adventure affordable? Now that's a Jeep thing. So we're bringing you more Jeep things this year, because Jeep things should be everyone's thing.
And now here's your Code Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutout sent to us on KUAM.com.
On Saturday, we have a birthday wish going out to Thomas J. Paris Cruz, celebrating birthday number 13 in 2026. Thomas J., you are getting love always from your family and the entire island community. We hope you have a great weekend. Want to wish your special someone a happy birthday? Just click the QR code here on your screen or email birthdayclub@kuam.com.
That's going to do it for us here on Weekend Edition. Visit KUAM.com or follow us at KUAM News on social media for the latest news. For now, I'm Mitsuki Hirayama. Have a safe evening.
It's the One Micronesia Show, brought to you by Bank of Hawaii. Reach your possible.
Ali, Bugithin, Hafade Zantiro, Rananim, Kasalili, Lengumo, and Yakwe. Welcome back to another episode of the One Micronesia Show. And for this one, we're keeping it on the court, the Tamuning Mayor's Office, the court here, because a lot has happened on these courts. And a lot of those have definitely helped individuals move on and become great people in their own individual communities. So, to kick off the show, we start off with Coach Sammy Setic. Check it out.
This week on the One Micronesia Show, we step onto the court in Tamuning, where basketball is more than just a game, it's a second chance. For Coach Sammy Setic, the game didn't just shape his skills, it helped shape his life.
Well, I'm going to take it back where, as you can see in the background right here, we're here in Tamuning Gym. This has always been my, the city that I grew up in, Tamuning, Tuma, Harmon, so that's why it's called Tatua. And honestly, it's been a very blessing. I started off playing baseball when I was young. It gets very emotional for me when I talk about my background, especially where I grew up at, how I was raised. But honestly, I'm just blessed and thankful. And, you know, basketball has been a big blessing for me. It's been a tool that I use for me. I started off here in Tamuning, man. When I was 11 years old, I played for Tamuning Tatua. And then from there, I played for Tamuning Typhoons. And just growing up here, you know, we had really no access to anything else, but the gym always had access for us. So it's been here for